Welcome to today's Insta Live, and today I'm going to talk to Lisa White about a soulful approach to fertility. I'm going to invite Lisa to join us today in our Insta Live, and it's such a pleasure to have her. As I said, we're going to talk about a soulful approach to fertility. Lisa is an author, IVF mentor, coach. Welcome, Lisa. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you.
Amazing. So, as I was saying, we are going to talk about the soulful approach to fertility. And I think it's really, really important because fertility is more than just a physical problem. And we cannot talk about physical problems without considering the emotional consequences, the mental consequences of it. So, the approach that traditionally we face in clinics of having the practical treatment only, nothing else, I think needs to change. And I think you're doing such an amazing work in this area.
Thank you.
Would you like to start by telling us a bit about how you got here? Because I know you were not an IVF mentor by
Right.
choice,
Right.
maybe.
You don't set your career path that this is what I'm going to go do in the world, right?
It's not one of those things that we dream about when we are little.
Right.
Tell
No,
us your
definitely.
story.
Yeah, I have a background as an occupational therapist, and that really supported me going through our fertility struggles. I was led to IVF after we had some male factor issues. And through our journey, just a lot of things became a holistic challenge in our life that I really knew the importance of including the mental, the physical, the spiritual aspects of this journey. Mm-hmm. And it is such a medical process, right? I had that medical kind of background to support me, but I knew there was a whole lot that I could control through this journey. And seeing that others kind of didn't see some of those themes that were very apparent to me, I realized this was work that I felt called to do and to step into this space to support others, to share lessons that I learned and just the background that I had to help guide others. And this process doesn't have to be as hard as I think a lot of people make it out to be. So recognizing, this was kind of just work that it's soul work. I honestly am so grateful that I did have those fertility challenges because it led me to this work that I get to guide and help others through. And everything kind of just does fall into place. So I'm now a fertility coach helping others with a soulful approach and getting in alignment and incorporating really all those pieces, the mind, the body, and the spirit.
And as you were saying, not everyone finds this kind of support available to them, or even online or as a way forward, but it can help cope with the ups and downs of the journey. What sort of things have you done during your journey that now maybe you suggest to others that can be helpful along the way?
Yeah, I think really one of the biggest things that I was doing, I developing your self-awareness skills and knowing how you operate, what things, keeping the joy alive still in your life. For me, writing has always been something I've enjoyed doing, and journaling. So there's a lot of power in recording your thoughts, releasing your emotions, finding outlets to relieve it and get it out of you. I'm not saying this process is easy. It's very emotional, right? A lot of highs and a lot of lows. And so journaling for me was a great outlet, and I encourage others to write. And that could be either relieving those heavy emotions, writing it out, and burning that piece of paper if you need to. There's different practices that I teach my clients with, like the full moon, and that's a real powerful time of surrendering and letting go. And then the new moon, which is I think on Wednesday coming up, calling in those intentions and writing out your intentions, having affirmations and mantras. I'm a big believer in those as well. So writing is very beneficial. And even writing to your little one. I know that might sound kind of out there, but intuitively, I felt called to connect with the spirit of my little baby. We went through 2 egg retrievals to get 1 healthy embryo. After the genetic testing, out of 7, only 1 of them was genetically healthy. So that one was frozen for a year. And in that time, I was writing letters to our little baby to be, our baby to be, not knowing boy, girl. And there's a gift in that. You're giving a gift to yourself and connecting with that little soul that's wanting to be here as well. So our daughter's she's 3 years old now. So I really believe like she was receiving kind of that energy I was putting out there.
So when we say that fertility treatment is almost a numbers game, and we want to have a lot of eggs because then not all of them will be fertilized, not all of them will develop into a blastocyst, not all of them will implant. How was it for you to have just that one embryo and find all that energy within you to believe instead of doubting that it was going to work? Because we only need one, right?
It's true.
Sometimes it's so difficult to believe that that can be the one. How did you process that?
That's a wonderful question. And I think, how do I answer this? It takes just a trusting this process, trusting yourself, trusting that you're going to become a mother in however way your little one's going to show up for you. I mean, we were devastated after our first egg retrieval round and the 4 embryos were not healthy. Picked ourselves back up again, find that strength to carry on. And we got 3 embryos and then the 1 was genetically healthy. And we just that 1, like that's all we needed was to help us hold on. And I had a lot of setbacks still along the way. So still feeling, okay, like I'm controlling what I'm thinking about. I'm controlling my heart space. Like those are areas I could control. What am I thinking about? What's the energy I'm bringing to this process? And I had 3 surgeries before our transfer. 3 surgeries. 1 was polyps. Then I had scar tissue from that, scar tissue surgery, then fibroid surgery. There was so many setbacks, and yet still I felt like move forward, trust, keep going, keep going. And it's funny, I actually never saw a positive like pregnancy test in all of all going through it. Even the 2-week wait, I never tested. I really let it go. I totally felt in my heart like it's gonna all work out. I just honestly, it's hard to say exactly like what is the key, but getting quiet within, again, that's some of the approaches I was taking, really nourishing myself, feeling good, feeling hopeful and inspired, and taking charge where I could, taking the control where I could. There's a lot of this ride that you don't have control over. The timeline, for example, we don't have control over this timeline. How is it all going to go? How is the baby going to come into my life? And I was doing other things like art. The right supports just showed up. I think that's such a key thing for people to recognize when you do try to not force things a certain way, and the right supports will come to you. I met a Reiki specialist. I was getting Reiki and I just got certified myself in that. So Reiki was hugely powerful for me. And art, I'm looking at a piece of my art right now. So I was like looking, and I have themes that like trust your intuition, magic awaits. Like there is a magic in this ride that you can tap into, and it's available to everybody.
I think it can be really hard to trust and believe when we are also feeling the pressure of time. You know, so many are thinking it's been 1 year, 2 years, 3 years,
right?
I'm not getting any more eggs. But I guess there must have been a moment when you've made that decision to believe. And
I mean, there were times like early on, because when we got the diagnosis, we had mostly male factor, but I also knew I had the polyps. So it was like, okay, IVF was the best chance for us. So I accepted. I think accepting that you need help is like number one. You accept, like, if we tried on our own, like we were trying, they said 1% chance, like
Yeah.
we had issues, so we needed help. And I accepted that. And we approached it together as a team openly. We were I mean, I delivered my daughter at 40. And so, I mean, I was also older, and yeah, I'll have to sit with that for a bit. Like, to think about, was there like a specific moment? But yeah, there were fears. Of course I had fears. I'm not saying this whole thing was just all wonderful, you know, rainbows and everything was wonderful and perfect. No, like there were fears. And I did find healthy ways to release and have support and a sisterhood, and being mindful of what I was taking in, what I was, but just trusting that this whole journey was unfolding the way it was meant to be, I think.
But it's almost like you were taking control of your thoughts as well, and the things you were choosing to put in your mind.
Yeah,
and
it's you a choice.
I think it almost looks like a choice of
it is.
Yeah.
Because I was going to like my doctor appointments, ultrasounds, blood work, all of that, like was just an openness. Nothing. And I'd always kind of been aware of energy and how that can affect things with other people. You know, you get a vibe about people, right? When they walk into a room, you can sense people's energy. And so just everything I was doing, I was approaching from just this open-hearted space. So, yeah.
Would you say that there were certain rituals or things that you were doing that maybe were helping you in keep believing? Or
yeah, actually, I brought my little symbol here. This was a crystal symbol. This heart was given to me from a dear friend. I write about it in my book that having a symbol can be really helpful to ground you and stay in that hopeful place. So I had lots of little symbols that showed up for me along the way, and those really did keep me in that hopeful, inspired place. But yeah, I would look at this. I took this to my procedures and surgeries and let my husband hold on to it. And it's been with me kind of through everything. So I really believe in having a symbol to ground you, uplift you. When you look at it, it gives you that hope. So that's one thing. And other things, some people call them faith purchases or hope purchases. I didn't have a name for it, but when I was out and about and I saw something that inspired me, I would pick it up, like a picture frame that said "Little Miracle." And I think at that point we knew we had our one embryo. Like, things light you up. Pay attention to that and buy those things. There were other little, like a lovey blanket thing that I loved, and it was just like, I'm going to give this to my little baby one day. Things that speak to you, really trust those whispers and those nudges, because they are guiding you.
and
those are things
were you finding help you mentioned sisterhood. Where were you finding that sisterhood? Was it on social media? Was it a face-to-face group? Where were you finding these other people?
A few different ways. I did get connected to a woman through a friend who had an online group, a Facebook group in New York, Rebecca, and she had a warriors group. I believe it's still going, and I'm connected with a few of the friends that I met in that group. She created multiple groups for like, once you were, you know, you're in the trying stage, or then after that. So it was a wonderful support that way. That was just kind of happened organically through a friend that connected me to her. And then another way was, and I write about this too, I was going to an acupuncture appointment, and I recognized a woman that I went to high school with, and we were heading to the elevator together, and she had a belly and pregnant, and I'm like, we went to high school together, right? Well, she just was so sweet, connected, like left her number at the appointment, like, let's connect, I'm here for you. Just, you know, we had the same doctor. It was just a really kind of small world. And wonderful to reconnect with people that I went to a pretty big high school here in Colorado. But just being open to however those supports are going to show up for you. I think once you do open up about your story, most people, you know someone that's gone through this, or they unfortunately know more people than they want to know who are going through fertility challenges, right? So
tell us a bit about your book.
Sure.
Did you feel the need to write a book? Was it to give meaning to your journey, share your journey? What was the reason, and what does the book talk about?
Yeah, I have it right here. It's Hold On Baby. Hold On Baby. Oh, look at you. You're so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really planned on writing a book about our story, but it dawned on me. I was holding my daughter at 5 months old, and I'm like, I'm gonna write a book about this. I want our story to be told. And it was just more about like the way we went about this path, how I got through, still feeling really empowered and inspired and hopeful, and wanting to give that to others who were, I didn't see other books like this, honestly. It's very personal. I share a lot of that I was also going through, seeing my mom's decline. Her health was declining, and that was just one of the hardest times of my life. So I'm going through fertility challenges as well as seeing my mom fade away. It was just so hard. So she got to meet our daughter, and yeah, it's a really, I just feel like if I can get through any of all that I went through, I can get through anything. But I wanted to inspire other people to share this approach that how I went about it. And it's a legacy too for our daughter, how she came to be in this world. So hold on for yourself, first and foremost. The title, Hold On Baby, it came to me as I'm envisioning, gosh, what's the message I want to get out there? It's like this roller coaster ride. I just want women and men too, just hold on, and hold on to yourself first, and hold on for the baby that's waiting for you too, right? So our one held on for us.
I was reading here, and you've said that it's about staying hopeful and not losing yourself or your dreams of your family in the process. And I think it can be so easy to lose ourselves in the process, because there's clearly the life before fertility problems and the life after problems. And it's almost like you live, dream, breathe, eat, everything is related to fertility problems. So what would be your tips to not lose yourself in the process? Because at the end of the journey, with or without baby, you will still be here. How can we make it happen?
Yeah, I have chapters devoted to this, because I really believe like not putting your life on hold. You still want to live your life, still do the things that light you up and bring you joy. And a lot of times people who are going through these challenges, they've forgotten what they used to love to do. And this is where kind of my occupational therapy background comes in, because it's all about finding activities that are meaningful and purposeful, and doing those things that do bring you joy and light you up. That's all about that feeling inside, not losing who you are. And a baby wants to come into the world to a mother, parent, partner, whoever, when they're feeling you're feeling lit up and nourished and full and whole, right? So I think that's just a big one, is getting back in touch with those things that light you up, that you enjoy doing. And
I think I'm a big advocate for that. I talk about that all the time as well. And another thing that you talk about that I'm also a big fan of is taking control of your journey and being an active participant in this journey. Because so often it looks like the doctor chooses the treatment, the doctor tells you what to do, what to eat, when to do things, and how can we be active participants in this journey and really feel that we are taking back power? Exactly. How can we do that?
It's a choice. It's a choice, and it's, I trusted my medical team, and I was feeling if something doesn't feel right, my hair, sorry, cut out for a second. Really listening to your inner knowing, your inner voice. If something doesn't feel right, get another opinion. I didn't go down the Google trail of researching everything.
Yes.
I had an acupuncturist. He's like, come to me. I'm Jeff Google here. So I would go to the experts for that kind of guidance. But again, trusting, you know, even my doctor, I had two different doctors. My first doctor left the practice. My first doctor, you know, was saying, oh, I think you should bank more embryos. I hated that term, bank more embryos. I was like, we just kept moving forward with our one. So trusting we're just going to keep going, right? We're going to keep moving forward. But yeah, you're right. Taking that power back. And I just see so many individuals kind of let infertility take over their life. And it robs them of the joy. It robs them of, you know, you're putting everything on hold for, well, I might be doing this, or I might be doing that procedure. I remember, I'll just share kind of a fun story. My friend and I got to go to the Ellen show in LA.
Really?
And yeah, so I was there kind of before, at the start of my fertility, like testing. But then we won tickets to go back for her 12 Days of Giveaways show, okay? The December Christmas show. And I'm like, I'm not missing this.
Yeah.
And I was like on my second day of shots, learning how to do shots. And I'm like, I'm not putting my life on hold. I'm still, I'm taking this with me. And I flew and I learned how to do all the shots out there. And well, my husband helped me the day before, but it was like, you take that power back. Like, I'm still living my life. I'm living in this joyful space. And it was an incredible weekend. It was so much fun. So.
I think that's amazing, because if we are taking care of our emotional health, we're also in a much better place to cope with the challenges of treatment when they come along. Yeah. So nurturing that emotional self is really, really important. And I
resilience, think right? Like I built up these resilience skills for a long time. And I think having gone through all these fertility challenges, I've been handling COVID pretty well, because I'm like, I've already lived this, entering the unknown and all this period of waiting, and yeah, embracing, okay, like, what is this all here to teach me, right? Just not knowing when this is going to end. It's very similar. So I feel like I've developed some resilience to handle these kind of challenges. I don't know if you have experienced that or heard that from other people, but
yes,
COVID and fertility challenges are very similar.
I think resilience is probably a very useful skill to have, since we are all facing this pandemic, which I think even for people who are still going through treatment, they are facing extra challenges, not being able to have their treatments in time, having it postponed, not being able to travel for treatment as well. So I would say that resilience that people have built up until this point can probably be used to face the challenges that we're all facing now. But you also talk about focusing on what you can control and taking that focus back.
Right.
What advice would you give to everyone who is listening and who is now thinking, there's nothing I can control, there's so much uncertainty in there, you know, about treatment, about my health, about my job? How can we maybe use what we've learned along the way to maybe find some hope during this pandemic?
I think self-compassion is a really big one. Forgiving yourself for thinking you could do anything more, or you're not doing enough. There's an element of surrendering to letting it go and letting go of the how this is all going to work out. You're going to free yourself. You're going to make more space. Tapping into that feminine energy of that you're ready and willing to receive. Not trying to force anything. When we will and want something to go a certain way, we really are creating more resistance, making it harder. I mean, this pandemic, we don't have any control over, right? We don't have control. Are all treatments paused in the UK? Are all the procedures halted right now?
They stopped in March, April last year. At the moment, they are going ahead in private centers, but in the National Health Service, they have stopped because staff have to be redeployed to other services. But also a lot of people in Europe travel to other countries for treatment, you know, because treatment might be cheaper in Spain or Greece, or they might have access to different kinds of treatment in those places. So treatment now it's difficult to travel for treatment at the moment.
Yeah, I forget about how many people do travel there. Here in Colorado, we're fortunate we have some of the top clinics in the world here.
Yeah.
But I'm recognizing how many must travel.
I think it's important what you mentioned about trusting the process as well. And maybe we can even view this time as a time of preparation to develop that trust, that belief, and that connection with our future baby.
No, it can be a really beautiful time to reconnect. First, it starts with yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can't control everything out there, but we can control what's in here.
Absolutely.
And I'm a big believer in, law of attraction and what we think about, we're bringing about, and what is the vibe that we're putting out? Is it one self-love, like I said, compassion and trust and letting go and making space for a baby to enter your life? Or is it the opposite? Because we're going to be drawing more of that to us, whatever we're putting out there.
Yes, I think if for anyone who sees this Insta Live, if we are considering treatment or even undergoing treatment right now, and we have the option of just going through treatments the normal way the clinic might recommend or do,
Mm-hmm.
and in a way where we're feeling emotionally stronger, connected with ourselves, with the treatment, with our partners, with our future baby. I mean, it's a no-brainer that we want to feel much better. I think this holistic approach that you are suggesting is really, really important, and it can be so helpful to anyone who chooses to embrace it as well.
Yeah, I think this 2021, it's all about stepping into that soulful, I think, way. We're all evolving as individuals, and 2020 taught us a lot, and just kind of stepping into this feminine space. I've been having conversations with a few friends recently about this like tapping into like the mother energy, the mother earth, the feminine. I think it's so beautiful when you kind of honor that sacredness that we can tap into the energy. I've been having these conversations with friends, and it's maybe people might think this is kind of out there, but it's powerful when we recognize that these little souls want to be here too, right? They choose us as well.
Yeah, I think we definitely have not only a physical and a mental side, but we have a spiritual side. And I think things happen for a reason. And I think this is just our journey of discovering our path. And
Right.
the sooner we embrace the journey instead of fighting a door that might be closed, and we open ourselves to other opportunities, the sooner we might be in that soulful and beautiful place.
And I've heard your TED talk too, and I love, and I write about this as well, the same concept of how we react to things. Right? We can't control what happens to us or things that are out of our control, but how are we going to react to things? And I like what you said too about being prepared. There's things we can do at the prepare stage, preparing, getting in alignment, mind, body, spirit. Like, fertility treatments, it's very medical. It's a very masculine kind of process. Let's like reconnect with the feminine energy, the soul being, that's the space that I felt like it wasn't being talked about enough when I was going through it. And I was like, there's such this other piece to it.
And Lisa, to everyone, can you tell us a bit about how can people buy your book? Yeah. And how can they engage with you either through your website, your social media? How can they engage with you and as an IVF mentor and supporter?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my book's on Amazon. So there's the Kindle version and then the paperback, and you can buy it in pretty much any country, I believe. And my website is ivfmanifestingamiracle.com. I have a YouTube channel as well, which is Lisa White IVF Manifesting a Miracle, where I do interviews with my fertility doctor and soul sisters. I do created that right at the beginning of COVID, actually, Soul Sister Conversations. So would love to feature you one day.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. On my website, I have a free download for my top 10 kind of tips going through creating more master classes. Just posted one over this weekend on vision board making, and so wanting to put together more classes. But shout out to you too with your app. I think it's incredible. I want to just shout that out to everybody. If you haven't downloaded the app, Enhanced Fertility.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's incredible, all the free resources that you give. So kudos to you. It's amazing what you've created.
Thank you, Lisa. I think what we're doing is beautiful because we are, like you said, we are choosing how to respond to these devastating circumstances that we have absolute no control of, that we've been through, but we're choosing to make something beautiful out of it with all the resources that are available to everyone.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm here for anybody that wants personalized support. We do free discovery calls, and, you know, just here to support you on this path and lighten the load, make it a little easier, simplify it, show you a new approach. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I will leave this video on IGTV and point people to your resources as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Andrea.
It was so lovely to have you here, and I'm sure we'll do many more things together.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Mwah. Bye. Love you.